What happens when the fire that feeds a great chef suddenly goes out? Amina prided herself on being the best cook in the village. People traveled miles just to taste her food. But today, her kitchen was empty. The firewood lay untouched, and the air carried no familiar aroma of sizzling meat and fresh herbs. Her helpers were gone. No Musa to grind the pepper, no Binta to stir the soup, no Sani to clean the pots. Amina smirked. I don't need them. She tied her wrapper tighter and picked up a knife. But as the hours passed, disaster unfolded. Onion burned too fast, soup tasted bland, and the once orderly kitchen turned into chaos. Her back ached, her arm felt weak. The food was late, customers were complaining. For the first time, Amina faced the truth she had always ignored. Even the best cooking pot cannot cook without fire. Amina's kitchen was always filled with the rich aroma of spices and the sound of sizzling oil. Her restaurant was the best in the village, and people came from far and wide to taste her food. She stood proudly in the center of it all, believing that her skill alone was responsible for her success. Her helpers, Musa, Binta, and Sani, worked tirelessly, chopping vegetables, grinding spices, and cleaning up after her. But Amina never thanked them. Without me, there would be no food, she often said. Then one fateful morning, she walked into her kitchen and found it silent. No chopping, no bubbling pots, no helpers. For the first time, the fire in her kitchen had gone out. Amina scoffed. I don't need them, she muttered. I can do everything myself. She tied her apron and got to work. She chopped onions, but they weren't as finely cut. She mixed spices, but the balance was off. She rushed between the fire and the chopping board, her hands shaking from exhaustion. By midday, customers were complaining. Why is the food late? One shouted. This doesn't taste the same. Another grumbled. Amina's pride stopped her from admitting the truth. She was struggling. As the sun set, Amina collapsed onto a stool, staring at the half-cooked meal and dirty dishes piled around her. The restaurant was a mess. Customers left in disappointment. She had worked twice as hard as usual, yet everything had gone wrong. How had she failed? Wasn't she the best chef in the village? Then she remembered something her grandmother once told her. Even the best cooking pots cannot cook without fire. She had always thought the fire was her talent, but now she wasn't so sure. Musa, Binta, and Sani sat under a mango tree outside the restaurant. They had heard about Amina's disastrous day. When she approached them, she expected them to beg for their jobs back. Instead, they sat silently, waiting. I need you all, Amina finally admitted, swallowing her pride. Binta raised an eyebrow. Do you need us, or do you just need our hands? Amina hesitated. She had never thought of them as more than workers, but today she realized they were the fire that kept her kitchen alive. The helpers did not return right away. We are not just extra hands, Musa said. We deserve respect. Amina nodded. She had always seen herself as the only important person in the kitchen, but now she saw the truth. Without her team, her talent was useless. She spent the next few days thinking about how to change. She watched other restaurants where owners worked alongside their staff, treating them like family. She realized that success wasn't about working alone, it was about working together. One morning, Amina gathered her courage and visited her helpers again. I was wrong, she admitted. I didn't appreciate you. If you come back, I promise to treat you with respect. The three exchanged glances. Binta spoke first. We will return, but things must change. Amina agreed. She had learned her lesson. When the helpers returned, the kitchen felt different. Amina didn't just give orders, she listened. She learned how Binta balanced flavors, how Musa's chopping made cooking faster, and how Sani's cleaning kept the kitchen running smoothly. She had always believed she was the fire, but now she saw that they were all flames in the same fire. For the first time, Amina chopped vegetables alongside her helpers. She washed dishes. She tasted the food with them before serving. That day, customers noticed something different. The food tastes better. An elder said, "It's not just the food," Binta whispered to Musa. "It's the way we made it, together." One evening, a traveler visited the restaurant. He tasted the food and asked, "What's the secret ingredient?" Amina smiled. "It's not a spice or a technique, it's something greater, teamwork." The traveler nodded. "That is the true recipe for success." Amina's restaurant became more popular than ever. People noticed the joy in the kitchen, the laughter, the shared effort, the way each dish carried the touch of many hands. During the village festival, she was asked to prepare the feast. This time, instead of cooking alone, she invited her whole team to stand beside her as they received praise. Amina started training young chefs, teaching them what she had learned. "Cooking is more than just skill," she told them. "It's about people. Even the best chef cannot cook alone." Musa, Binta, and Sani became more than just helpers. They were partners, and together they made magic in the kitchen. Years later, Amina's restaurant was still thriving. People traveled from far away, not just for the food, but for the warmth and teamwork they saw in her kitchen. One day, a young apprentice asked her, "What is the most important thing in cooking?" Amina smiled and repeated the words she had once ignored. "Even the best cooking pot cannot cook without fire." That's the end of the story. Even the best cooking pot cannot cook without fire. Amina learned this the hard way. But what about you? Have you ever been in a situation where you underestimated the people who helped you? Do you think Amina's helpers were right to leave her? What would you have done in their place? Can you think of another African proverb that teaches the importance of teamwork? Share it in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let's keep the conversation going. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more amazing stories. Share this story with someone who needs to hear this lesson. What story should we tell next? Let us know in the comments. Thank you. See you in the next video.